Hello, this is Sandy Gallagher welcoming you back to the 6th lesson of Thinking into Results. I think a great way to introduce this lesson is with a quote from Maxwell Maltz. He's the author of the best-selling book, Psycho-Cybernetics. And he said this about our topic today: self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. You know, often we aren't aware of the image that we have of ourselves. And this image influences every part of our life. It controls the way you talk, the way you look, the way you love, the way you dream, everything. And of course, if you have a negative image of yourself, your results are going to be negative. And if you have a limited image of yourself, your results are going to be limited. It's just the way it works. But you can change your image and you can change your world. You're going to learn how to write the script of you. A new you with a new self-image. What do you want to be? What kind of life and career do you see for yourself? What's holding you back? Maybe it's your self-image. I learned how to create the script for myself several years ago. I had to start thinking star and not supporting player. And I remember really vividly sitting down to write the story as if it was already happening in my life. And I had quite a few naysayers that were telling me I was unrealistic, but I stayed with it. I put my screenplay in a safe place and I read it every chance I got. And then one day I decided I'm going to make this happen. And I started investing more in myself and learning who I really was and what my purpose was and just what I was capable of. And now, as I look back on that journal entry, so many of my fantasies are now my reality. So have fun with this lesson for yourself and with your team. You can help your team change its self-image too. Are you ready?
You know, in 1960, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a cosmetic surgeon, a plastic surgeon, came out with a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Interesting name, isn't it? Psyche being Greek for mind, cybernetics being the science of control and communication in the animal and in some machine. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, what we're really saying is you've got a control mechanism in your mind. And it's going to determine what comes into your life, and it's going to determine how well you do whatever you do. We refer to it as an image. It's a self-image. You see, Dr. Maxwell Maltz was doing cosmetic surgery on people. Maybe they had a huge bump on their nose or a distasteful scar in their face. And he would remove this or build a nice little nose, whatever that is, or he would remove the scar, and he noticed that there was quite a difference in the person's appearance. But he also noticed sometimes there was a great psychological change. They not only looked different, they felt and acted different. But he said this didn't always happen. He said sometimes, regardless of how successful the physical operation might have been, there was no psychological change. And this led him to postulate that we have two images. We have the one that we project to the world. It's the way we dress, walk, talk, comb our hair, do whatever we do. And the other is the picture that we hold inside. Now, ultimately, the picture that we hold inside definitely shows on the outside. You see, if you have a negative or a bad image of yourself, your results are going to be a reflection of it. Your results are always a reflection of what's going on inside. Now, this image is built, well, it's built genetically, it's passed along in the genes, and then it's built in your little life to a very large degree. A child that's raised with praise grows up to be a very confident adult. A child that's raised with criticism grows up to be a very insecure human being. Now, the confident individual has an understanding of who they are, of the dynamics of their personality, their spirituality. They understand the power of their mind. They understand something about themselves, and they like themselves. They have a good opinion of themselves, or you could say they have a good image. The person that doesn't understand themselves, that is super critical of themselves, that feels inferior, that person has a poor image. Now, regardless of what image we hold, I am of the opinion we can improve upon it. I was creating a program. I am working on a program right now. I have taught it a couple of times. It's called Your Spiritual DNA is Perfect. It requires no modification. It requires no improvement. You see, right at the center of your consciousness is an image of perfection. I am totally in agreement with the idea that you and I have been created in God's image. We have marvelous creative faculties, but they're so buried in virus code and in false concepts that it's only on a rare occasion that that perfection sees the light of day. It's our responsibility to get rid of those paradigms, get rid of those viruses, get rid of those insecurities, those doubts about ourselves, so that the perfection shines through. Now, how do we do this? Well, I found that the more you study you, the better the image you're going to have of yourself. And that image is vitally important. It operates much like a thermostat in a room. It controls the temperature of the room. Or it operates like the automatic pilot on a plane or on a rocket. Do you know it's been stated that a rocket fails its way to the moon? There's a cybernetic mechanism. And the second it goes off course, the cybernetic mechanism brings it back on course. Well, if the room temperature happens to drop from, let's say, 70 degrees down to 66, it's in the north and it's cold outside, the thermostat will pick up the deviation from that set goal. It sends a message to the furnace, the fire and the fan's turned on until the room temperature is brought back under control at 70 degrees. Someone must have left the front door open and the cold air blew in. We close the door, we don't have to do anything. The thermostat will automatically activate the furnace, activate the fan, bring the room temperature back to 70 degrees. Let's say a pilot leaves Chicago, Illinois, and the flight plan is to take them to LAX or Los Angeles International Airport. Well, the automatic pilot is set, and that plane is flying on course for LAX. Now, if it gets hit some big turbulence, it'll get knocked off course, but the cybernetic mechanism brings it right back on course. And it's off course, back on, off course, back on course. Well, you see, you and I have a self-image. And when we deviate from that, it brings us right back on course again. Let's suppose a person has a fat image, and they're going to go on a diet. Your subconscious mind is programmed to find whatever you lose. They lose 10 pounds. You know what the cybernetic mechanism does? Brings them right back on course again. They'll find the 10 pounds. Let's suppose it's a salesperson, and the salesperson is selling, let's say, $100,000 of whatever it is a month, about $1 million to a year in sales. And let's suppose their sales happens to drop off one month to about 70,000. Do you know the next month it'll bring it right back on course? They probably go up to 130, but it'll bring them back on course. The end of the year, they'll have their $1 million too. Let's suppose a person's income is $50,000 a year, and something happens to knock it down to 30. It'll bring it right back to 50. Now, this is almost like magic if you don't understand it. But when you do understand it, it makes an awful lot of sense. You see, in your subconscious mind, part of your paradigm is an image of yourself. It controls the way you walk, it controls the way you talk, it controls the way you meet and greet other people. This image of ourself literally controls our life. When Maltz came out with this idea, it was considered the greatest psychological discovery of his generation. All kinds of lives were changed from that book. In fact, you might want to get the book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. It's a phenomenal book. Great information in it. Now, how do we change our self-image? Well, first of all, we have to understand that we have an image in our subconscious mind. In fact, our life operates by images. Think about this. Corporations have images. Coca-Cola, for example. If you get on an airplane and you take a look at a menu, if you're sitting in the front of the plane, they give you a menu, and you look at it, and they'll have under drinks, tea, coffee, milk, and then Coca-Cola is in that logotype. You know the script, Coca-Cola? It's never just a plain font, the same as everything else. They always have the logotype. Corporations build an image. In fact, there's companies that do nothing but help companies develop an image. Starbucks has an image. We call it branding now. But really what it is, it's an image. It's an image that's planted in the mind of people. Well, every person has an image. Now, your results are a reflection of your image. If you don't like your results, you can change your image. I have changed my image on 3 or 4 occasions. How do we do it? Well, this is where we put our mind to work. We put our conscious mind to work, and we consciously and deliberately choose the kind of person we want to be. You see, all the rest of the little creatures operate by instinct, which is perfect. And they blend in with their environment. We've got the ability to alter our environment. So we can sit down with our intellect and we can start thinking, what do I really want to be like? Now, what I generally do, I'll pick people I know that have qualities in their personality or in their character that I really admire. I'm not copying the person, just that particular character trait. And I'll build that into it, and I see myself being that way. In fact, I watched Bill Gove, and I watched Billy Graham, and I watched Earl Nightingale communicating with large audiences for years. And much of what they did is built into my presentation. It's built into my image of myself. So we sit down and we write out a description in the present tense. And we do that. That's an exercise of our intellect, our conscious mind. And then we will take that and we totally relax and we start to see ourselves as that person. This is called imagined reality. It's the actor's technique. We act as if, and we literally become that person. Watch movies. I watched 2 movies. They've been around for a long time now. Patton, George C. Scott in Patton, and Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole and Omar Sharif. Their acting was incredible. And as you watch it, you realize they took a script, they read the script, they reread the script, they memorized the script, they internalized the script, they became the script. Well, that's what you want to do. See, most people are extras in their own movie. They see other people and they think they're the star and I'm just in the supporting cast, or I may just have a walk-on. Make yourself the star of your movie. Your movie is your life. And sit down and build the picture and then totally relax and let yourself become that. And do that often. You may do it a few times a day. It only takes a few minutes. And totally relax. When I'd drive in a car, I'd see myself speaking at a convention to a large audience, totally relaxed, communicating effectively. Get Stella Adler's book, The Art of Acting. It's a phenomenal book. Stella Adler was one of the greatest acting teachers in the world. She taught Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando wrote the foreword in her book. The book was actually written by a man, I think his name's Kissel. He took all of her lessons, which were all transcribed, and he put them in a book. So when you read The Art of Acting, it's like you're in her class. And you're learning how to act the way you want to act. Live the life you want to live. Write your own script. The image that is fixed in your subconscious mind is how the rest of the world will see you. No one can alter your image for you, but you can alter it. You can begin living the life you really want to live. I used to be unhappy, sick, and broke. Now I'm happy, healthy, wealthy. That is not an accident. I created that. Now you'll understand why Dr. Maxwell Maltz said this was the greatest psychological discovery of his generation. He has helped literally millions upon millions of people through his great work with psycho-cybernetics. There is a science of control and communication locked up in you. It's your self-image. It's the image you hold of you. It controls how you walk, how you talk, how you meet and greet the world. Build a better image. See yourself as everything you're supposed to be. You know, Steve Bowe, who was a VP with Metropolitan Life one time, he said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. The wisest scientists cannot even guess at what you're capable of doing. There's something wonderful about you. Get in touch with it. Hold that picture. Become that person. I'm not talking about conceit. I'm talking about a healthy, conscious awareness of who and what you are. Be good to yourself. If you're not, no one else will be. Get to love yourself. Wake up and kiss yourself. There's something really powerful about you. See it. That's your self-image. I want you to think of this for a moment. Let's suppose that we bring a group of people together, 5, 6, maybe 8 or 10 people, who all have a very powerful self-image and who really understand the truth about their personality. They don't compete, they create. and they come together as a team, they would understand that the team has an image. Just the same as a corporation has an image, an individual has an image, so does a team. And the team that comes together in a corporation or even in sport, and they build a powerful image, that team cannot be beaten because they're not competing, they're creating. They become a very powerful force. Just as when you hook a bunch of batteries together, you've got a lot more power. When you hook a group of people together, you've got a lot more power. We talk about this in another message on masterminding. But let's just keep it with a team right now. There's a team of people working together in your accounting department. There's a team of people working together out in the tool crib. There's a team of people working together in the sales department. See, a corporation is made up of departments. And departments are made up of groups of people. Now, I want you to imagine that you've got a team of people or a group of people, and some have a good image and some have a very inferior image. And some are very competitive and some are not. You've got a fractionized team there. You've got a team that just isn't going to go anywhere. One person's going this way, one's going that way. You haven't got a team at all. You've just got a group of people together that verbally say they're working on the same project, but they're not working together. There's nothing created. There's nothing accomplished. You know, some companies are made up of groups like this. Those companies never get very far, and ultimately, they probably go out of business. But the small company that comes together and they understand this concept, and they create an environment that's conducive to the unfoldment and the development of powerful teams, those companies just keep growing. They grow all over the world. And we're living in a global marketplace today. So do you see, if you want to grow, if you want to keep going, you've got to have powerful teams in a company. If you want to grow as a person, you need a powerful team helping you. I'm talking just on a social level. You want to mix with people who understand this concept. Understand this. Amateurs compete. Professionals create. You have creative faculties. You have creative potential. There's a power flowing to and through you. And when you bring a group of people together in the spirit of harmony, you have one of the most powerful forces in the entire world. And they're all working towards one objective. That objective is preordained. It's going to happen just as sure as it could start tonight. So if you're on a team and there's people on the team that don't understand this concept, take a few minutes and share it with them. Tell them about the power of self-image. Sit down and explain it. Now you've got to understand it if you're going to do that. I had a great teacher one time tell me, Bob, you don't understand anything until you can explain it to someone else so that they understand it. So you understand it yourself and then take it on as your responsibility to help everybody understand it the same way. Because it's only when you're all operating with the same understanding that you come together. You see, you bring two people together and you got 11, haven't you? Multiply. It compounds. That's called compound power. And you've got the ability to do that. There is nothing like a powerful creative team. Do you know what it does? It turns work into fun. And it gives results that really count. You accomplish a lot more in a short period of time, and you have a lot more fun. You'll be anxious to get back at it. And that's living. Everything else is dying. Just like everything in the universe, there is a basic law that says create or disintegrate. So what the team's doing is creating or it's disintegrating. You make certain that you're going to be the member of the team that helps everybody understand this. And if you happen to see a person wandering off course, maybe they have a personal problem. You might suggest that you go and have a cup of coffee, just sort of a casual basis, or have lunch together. And sit down and get talking to them and get them to share their problem with you. See, a person won't share a problem with you until they feel you have the solution to their problem. Be a knowledgeable person. Make up your mind you're going to help every member of the team become a better member of the team. And you know what that'll make you? A wonderful member of the team. Make sure your team has power. And that is going to be determined by the image of the team. Everybody has the same image. We are a powerful, creative group of people, all working towards the same objective. Powerful idea. Makes powerful teams. Powerful teams make great companies. Great companies compensate their people in a very, very abundant manner. Think about it. Be creative.
So did today's lesson start you thinking about the image you hold of yourself? Are you happy with what you see? Every person has an image. Your results are a reflection of your image. If you want better results, check the image you have of yourself. Teams also have an image. If you want to grow, if you want to produce powerful results, you have to have an effective team in your company. And if you want to grow as a leader, you need a powerful team helping you. So really take time on this lesson. Get into it. Listen to your CDs. Use your guide. Work with your team. Self-image is the key to getting the change you want. What would you like to improve about your self-image? Are you ready to give it a lift?